Okay, great. We're live. This is part 2 of our GSoC, DMP, and SSoC final presentations. GSoC stands for Google Summer of Code. DMP is dedicated mentoring program, and SSoC is Sugar Summer of Code. Our first year trying that out. So we've got our contributors here with us. We'll be going in this order. We've got Bishoy Wadea, Mebin Thattil, Aman Naik, Harshit Verma, Anvita Prasad, and then Aman Chadha, and Justin, Charles, and we will be concluding with Krish's presentation. The idea is they've been doing work over the last few months this summer for Sugar Labs, different projects from making games to improving different sugar activities with new features to a total rehaul of GTK4 to improvements to music blocks, both the version 3 and the version 4. As well as Sugarizer. On that note, we'll get started. We have just an hour for everyone to present, so everyone gets about 5 minutes to show what they've been working on. I guess let's get started. So, Bishoy.
Okay, hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, I will be show my work in a high level because of the time. But if you want to ask for more details or even show a demo for this activity, I will. I have opened an instance of Sugar OS. We could show it on live. Okay, so basically, my idea for this summer is to develop 10 activities. These activities are based on math or puzzles or even an AI. So these are my activities I have done in this summer. The first one is called the four color map. This game is based on color theory. The idea of this game is to uh, I will offer you a map like this, and you want to color it so that no two adjacent parts or sections have the same color. Uh, this game have many modes, one for countries and one for geometrical shapes. I offer more than one country. I offer Egypt and US and India and Nigeria. Any country can be done. And this is all the technologies I have used. Okay, this is the first one. The second one is called Broken Calculator. Broken Calculator is a game based on to make the child master the arithmetic operations like plus and minus and like this. The idea of the game is you have a calculator and some of the buttons are broken. You want to achieve a target with this available buttons and the available arithmetic operations. As long as you make an equation more taller, you will get more points of score. So this is the second activity. The third activity is called Suma Cube. Suma Cube is a classical puzzle of 3D. You have seven parts of shapes, and you want to make them in order so you can make an a cube of 3 by 3 by 3. This game is like visually intensive. I have used OpenGL, Python OpenGL, to make 3D rendering like this. It has full graphics control and physical control. The cubes are collision with each other, so no two pieces are overlapped. And this is a demo for it. Okay. The fourth activity, I have done this post pre GSoC. I have this is a 15 puzzle game. It's a traditional puzzle. So you have this puzzle shuffled, and you want to arrange them so that in a correct sequence, one, two, three, four, with one empty field. I guess it's a popular one. Okay. The next game is an Eclipse game. Game is to make child more familiar with the concept of GCD. GCD stands for Greatest Common Divisor. But the idea in this game, or the challenge I have faced, is to get familiar with sugar and the collab wrapper to make these two devices. It is not getting better. Okay, so sorry. Again, the challenge is to make two instances of OS play with together in multiplayer across the network. So was the main challenge in this activity, and it has three modes: single player, and to play with AI, and to play with another player across network. Okay, the next one is auto scoring. Auto scoring is a Actually, it's a is a simple one. You have a number row, and you have only three choices to move one cell, or two, or three. It is a two-player game. The idea is to reach the final slot with odd number of moves. So it's a it's a simple one. And again, it has these three different modes to play with a friend across the network. Okay. The next one is a play like a Sudoku, but the rule of blocks is not there. It's only to not duplicate the number in the row or column, and it have modes easy and medium and hard, and a lot of other features. Okay, the other one is Rubik Cube. Uh, it's a popular one also. I guess you know it. So it's a Rubik Cube, and also I have used OpenGL to 3D render this cube. Okay, the other two ones are I have used AI in them. So basically, this activity, the user will give you a sequence of number, and the activity will try to predict the next number in the sequence. Uh, okay, this is the idea. I've used mixed approaches to get the maximum efficiency. I have used the rule-based approach, and rule-based is to try to predict the famous sequences like arithmetic, geometric, factorial, and others. And if I can't find one of them matching, I will fall back to a memorized sequence I have seen from previous interaction with the user. I have used the journal in Sugar. It's a feature to keep the instance of the activity persistent across multiple opening of it. So this and if I didn't get a memorized sequence, I try to make model predict the next sequence, and if I wrong, if the prediction is wrong, I will correct it so the AI can learn from its mistakes. And the final one is AI organizer. This is activity basically to the user will provide an image, and I will try to classify it as three categories: animal, or shape, or number. So this is basically an AI, and if I also if the AI made the prediction wrong, I will correct it. I have used it YOLO to predict objects and try to classify them. And this is all the blogs I have made this summer. And yes, that's my blog so far.
Awesome, Bishoy. Thank you for presenting. And if someone wants to install one of these and try them out, what should they know?
Okay. Basically, the activities is not released yet. One of them is only released on Sugar store or the site. Is a 15 puzzle game. But to try them before releasing, you could go to the repo, and I will provide you a readme. So how can you install them or build them from the code? So all these activities in the readmes, there is detailed steps to so you can develop them or use them.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have Mebin.
Yeah, hello everyone. Over the summer, I've been working on the Speak activity. So I've recorded a small demo showing all the new features. So I'll just be sharing that. Hello, this is going to be a small demo about all the new features in the Speak activity that are AI related. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short and brush through all the important features that we have. So starting off with the voice mode, this mode just speaks the text that you give it, and the voice model is the different is offered by Kokoro. So typing something, for example, would sound like
This is me typing something.
right. So yeah, there are these voices, and all this is using Kokoro. So this is one use case where I've got that kids can just smash the keyboard. Let's see how.
JSDLKF SJALFK SAD.
Right. Another thing that is kind of built into this is profanity checks. So if I say,
Sorry, looks like you have entered a blacklisted word. Please try typing something else.
right. So those are the kind of features that we have for the voice mode. I also mentioned how the voices could be changed. So that's from here. This is actually the voice selection menu. The icon for this is not appropriate. I know. I will change it to something more appropriate. But you can see there's a list of voices here. And we've segregated into two parts, default voices and add-on voices. The idea here is that the default voices will be packaged within Sugar, within the activity. And the add-on voices can be pulled, from Hugging Face later. So I'll give you a demo of a few of the voices.
Kokoro voice changed.
Kokoro voice changed.
Kokoro voice changed.
Right, so you can see how there are these different voices, right? Now moving on to the next feature, which is the chatbot mode that we have, right? So now the chatbot mode, if the user is connected to the internet, which in my case, you can see that I'm connected to the internet, it tries to ping Sugar AI and get the response from there, the model hosted there. But if there is no internet, and if that fails, or if Sugar AI is down for some reason, then there is also a small language model that's hosted locally and packaged within the activity. That would be used instead. And for some reason, if that fails, it will also try to fall back to the previous AI/ML brain that we had. So if I type something like why,
Thinking. I'm Jane, your teacher. I help kids like you learn new things every day with fun activities and games.
right? So you can see how, and that was by hitting the Sugar AI endpoint. And you would have also noticed how it says, I am Jane. That's a good segue into the next feature, which is personas. So personas, again, I know the icon is not the best. I will change that. But the idea is you have different personas, and personas have kind of a unique voice and a unique personality. Jane is the default persona. Change that obviously later. But maybe I'll show you guys Captain Stella.
Persona changed to Captain Stella.
Right. So if I Captain Stella is more of like astronaut and the space things. So if I say, how are you?
Thinking. Sorry, I was not able to generate this response. Profanity intercept.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Let's give it another shot.
Thinking. I'm doing great. Exploring new galaxies is so much fun. How can I help you learn more about our amazing universe today? Spark.
You can see how it generates an answer uh, in someone of a space adventure enthusiast, right? What happened before the profanity intercept? I'm not sure. I have to look into that, but that hasn't happened before. Um, and you could even try asking things like, tell me a joke, or anything really, and it would answer based on that personality. That's the idea. And the profanity check kind of happens two ways. There is a profanity check that happens when the user types in something and that's a blacklisted word, or it could happen where you type in something and in the model output there's something that is blacklisted. Then we manually intercept that and don't say. So how that is useful is for a case like something like each means some bad word, for example. There is already model guardrails in place, but if that fails, we still do have like a hard check. So let's try this out.
Thinking. Let's use kind words instead. How about we learn cool facts about Jupiter? It has a big red spot that's actually a storm. Jupiter is amazing with its giant storms like the red spot. Focus on learning neat things in space to fuel your imagination. Rocket sparkles.
Right, so you can see how that's a much better answer, right? Trying to tell the kid that, hey, you know what, let's focus on better stuff instead. So that's about it. Yeah, one final thing I think is showing how the fallback happens. So you can see how right now I have internet access. And the moment I turn it off, I'm no longer connected to the internet. So it cannot hit sugar AI, right? So moment I type, who are you into the chatbot mode, it is going to reply with something like, I'm a assistant or a computer program, because that's the kind of training done on the small language model. So let's try that out.
I am a real computer program. I exist to teach you and learn. What do you?
All right, so you can see how it's not Captain Stella anymore, right? So that's the small language model in action. The voices still can happen offline. The small language model happens offline. Only thing is the LLM would require API key and internet access. So that's pretty much it. Those are most of the features. Things that are left are to change these icons and to maybe also rename a bunch of these voices to more friendlier ones. But apart from that, if you guys have any feedback, that would be amazing to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, so that video was pretty much it. And this was a little while ago, so I think the personas I had added it. But yeah, that those were pretty much the things that I did over the summer.
Great. Thank you so much, Mebin, for that comprehensive report. Next, we've got Aman Naik.
Hi everyone. So I have been working on the right activity, and I have been adding some kind of AI assistance to it. So I'll just share my screen. Start with a small presentation, and then I'll show you the demo. So the problem with the right activity is that students were using it to Yeah. So students were using it to write stories, and the problem is that children have problem structuring their stories, and due to this, they have hard time writing these stories properly and showing them to others. So to solve this problem, we are using some AI, but um, but also we do not give them the whole like AI generated text directly. We are trying to give them a structure, and based on that structure they can write their story. So the approach was very simple. It's like you first have a conversation with the child, but through an AI personality, and then based on that conversation we build a framework. This framework is divided into multiple story elements, like the setting of the story, the character of the story, and the villain, etc. And then also we have a third component, which is suggestions, and this component provides suggestions to the based on what has been written in the canvas. So I'll show. So this is like an overview of the approach, how the workflow works in the chat section. Like we have this conversation loop happening where the user inputs a text, and it is given to the message history, and based on the history, and the LM generates a question. It goes through a profanity check, and it outputs the question, and these questions are based on the previous responses. I'll show you that in the demo as well. These are some initial handouts provided by Devin, which provided some feedback to how the activity is being used. So based on this feedback, during the midpoint, I reevaluated some of the implementations, so that based on these feedback, it would be a better adding more additional features. So the demo of the application. So the right activity looks like this, and we have this chat icon over here. And when you press on this icon, you can have a conversation with the AI assistant. And I have already had the small conversation with the AI assistant, like, "Hi, I'm Mary Tales. Who is the story about?" So the child replies, "A crow." And based on the previous reply, it tries to understand it tries to gain more knowledge about what the story is about. So where does the crow's adventure takes place? So the child replies that he is trying to find water. So the crow's is on a mission to find water. What's stopping him from finding it? Is there someone in his way? So in this way, the AI tries to get more and more information out of the child, so that the AI can understand better what the story is about. And once the child is satisfied with having the conversation, they can go ahead and click on this button, which like creates a framework. So I'll show you how the framework looks. Just give it a minute. Uh, Sometimes right now it's working on a different API, so sometimes it takes a little time. So yeah, so this is the framework. These are basically story elements. Like various types of stories have different types of elements. So like the setting, the goal, the main character, the conflict, and this is a proper structure that the student has on the right hand side, and the student can write everything that they want about the story here, and they can reference this structure on the right hand side as well. Now let's say they don't know what the title of the story is, or let's say they don't know what a side character is. So the activity also helps that a side character is a friend or a helper character in your story. So these are like simple definitions of what extra elements in the story that they could add. So this helps them structure the story more properly, add more elements to the story to make it more comprehensive. This is the framework, and then we also have an suggestions feature, which is like the advice feature, which can be accessed through here. So I have small story written here. So it's like a small story that everybody has heard about the crow, and the crow trying to find some water from a pot. So they can, based on this text, they can just click on generate advice, and based on the story that is written, they can get some advice that they want about the story that has been written on the canvas. So the AI just picks all the stuff on the canvas, and the whole text goes through an LLM, and this advice gets generated. So you could describe what the crow looks like, or help us picture him in our minds. Try adding some feelings or thoughts. Think about clever solutions that the crow might come up with. Since this is half of the story, the AI is giving us options to how to make the story more complete. So this might help children to comprehensively write stories that they want. That's it for the demo part. And also, I would like to say that if, let's say, they have a conversation and they think that they want to have another conversation back again, so they can just click on this chat icon again, and they can have more conversation. Like the crow found a pot, but it's out of reach. How does he plan to get the water from the bottom of the pot? So the AI tries to get answers from him, and they can chat back again and click on the create framework button again, and they can have another set of framework, which is based like the additional info that they provide. Yeah. In future, what I'll try to do is that get some reviews based, like after the PR gets merged, I can get more reviews from the students and the mentors as well. Some UI enhancement and some suggestions were provided by mentors that we can dynamic, like based on the whatever has been written on the canvas, we can update the framework based on the what has been written on the canvas. So these are some ideas that can improve this feature much more and make it more compatible for the children. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, I'm personally excited about, you know, kind of bringing this to scale, if you will. I experimented with this a little bit in the classroom, and the kids really liked it. And so the only problem I ran into was we didn't have enough resources, so the students were, you know, using up all the you know, credit allotments we had. So and then it would abruptly stop. So I can't wait until we can really try this in the classroom with a group. So next we've got Harshit Verma.
Hi all, I'm audible.
Yeah.
Thanks. So myself Harshit Verma, and I'm working on the project the LLM powered debugger for PP as part of the dedicated mentorship program. So PP is a sugar activity, which is basically a Python learning environment where kids can write and execute Python programs. So this is my project report. I'll skip this and take you to the demo. So that's how the PP UI looks. I've written a simple Python program to find the average. You can figure out it has some bug. I mean, that's what I've added to demonstrate how the debugger works. So yeah, let me run this program. What it says, it has an index error. Oh, invalid syntax. So that's when the debugger comes into place, and yeah, we can debug the program. Hey there, future coder. That's how the LLM responds in the debugging terminal. Hey there, future coder. This code wants to find the average of the first 5 numbers in a list. An average is like finding the middle, not too big, not too small. First, just take the first 5 numbers. Then it basically tells context of the code, what the code is trying to do. And yeah, you can ask us to debug the code. And you can press this debug button.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Did you ask something like we still have you, Aman? Okay, all right.
I meant Harshit. So I can't tell if if we're watching it kind of do its processing or if we've lost Harshit.
Yeah, actually, there's a power cut. I just lost my connection.
Oh, okay.
So you guys continued or waited?
I waited because I thought, sometimes these programs, take a little bit of time in the background to do their analysis.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes. So it did the context and now it's, here. Can you continue with?
Yeah. I think the server works. Let me just restart it.
I think that while we're waiting, I think the
Hmm,
context
I
was
think-
really nice.
Yeah. And then it gives a journey through how to debug the code. And that's what makes it different than traditional debuggers.
Yeah.
That it guides the learner through a debugging process rather than the response to them.
Yeah.
And this is my project report, and it contains all the details related to my project, even a demo video is here, so you guys can see the video from here, and it also links all of my code which I've written and my weekly blogs. So yeah, that's how the debug response look in the terminal, so you can figure that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's all from my side.
Yeah, the context is so nice. To first say, okay, this is what it looks like you're creating, and then getting into what's wrong with it. Yeah, that's such a nice feature because we want people to be using their brains and not just kind of shutting it off their brains off and just letting these large language models do all the work for them. Cool. Is there anything else you're going to show us? Are you going to show us the rest of this?
I think I should play the video. That would be great. My demo video.
We might not have time. I'm looking at the clock and I'm looking how many people we have.
Okay, then it's fine.
But people can find that video on the sugarlabs.org website. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's in my final blog and also in my final report.
Okay, so they go to sugarlabs.org, they go to news, and then they can search for your name, Harshit, and then they can find it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Next, we've got Anvita. So that kind of concludes the the sugar activities portion of these presentations. So we're going to move on to music blocks for a little bit. With Anvita. And Harshit, can you please stop sharing your screen?
Yep. Hey everyone, I'm Anvita. Let me just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah, so for DMP 2025, my project was working on improving the synth and sample features for music blocks, particularly making the quality of sample use better. And to that end, I made it easier to fine tune samples. So I created a tuner and added a way to do micro adjustments in Sense. And I supported a framework for having multiple samples per instrument so that playback can be more natural. So first I'll show you the tuner part. Um, when you go to the sample, you can see the tuner widget and the manual scent adjustment here in the toolbar. So I created a visual tuner with 11 segments. It has two modes, chromatic and target pitch mode. So basically, the tuner uses the web audio API and it analyzes the audio. And for accurate pitch detection, I've implemented the YN algorithm, which will calculate the fundamental frequency of a sound. And once the frequency is detected, the tuner figures out the closest note and calculates the scent deviation. So as you saw, there are two modes, the chromatic mode and the target pitch mode. The chromatic mode shows the tuning relative to the nearest note, which is useful for general tuning, and the target pitch mode lets users tune specifically to a chosen target note. So when a student sings or plays a note into the mic, it listens in real time and shows two things: the closest note and how many cents the input is above or below that note. And here each segment represents 10 cents. So 16 cents. When we switch to the target pitch mode, we can see that A4 is the default target pitch, and we can change that according to what we want our target pitch to be. And now you can see how it's almost in tune, just a couple cents off. The next thing I made was the manual scent adjustment. Let me just. So when you open up the sampler, after uploading or recording a sample, users see a slider that lets them adjust the pitch by a plus minus 50 cents range. And here we're just uploading a sample, I think A4. And when we play it, you can hear how it's slightly lower, and if we increase it, it's slightly higher. So the slider changes the playback rate of the sample using a formula, and then it saves that value. So once you're happy with the tuning, users can save the adjusted sample and use it directly in their compositions. And finally, the last feature which I worked on was the multiple sample system. So for that, I implemented a framework that allows multiple samples per instrument instead of just one. And the system automatically detects the most appropriate sample based on the note being played. So it basically minimizes the amount of pitch shifting required. Let me just. So the biggest challenge I faced here was finding quality samples, you could say, especially for different articulations and dynamics. So for now, I implemented multiple samples across different octaves. And since each instrument group is different, I've implemented different sampling strategies for each. And all of this happens internally. So I'll show a short demo video. I just picked the viola for this and um, tried to focus on the higher and lower notes to hear the difference. I hope there's no compression. So I'll show first a small piece with the single samples. Yep. So you can hear how the high notes don't sound that great and the low notes as well. Whereas with the multi-sample approach, uh, hopefully you can hear the impact and difference multiple samples create. Um, so basically, this is the work I did. Um, I made it easier to fine tune samples and which gives users more control, and I made playback sound more natural and expressive. Uh, Thank you.
Great, Anvita. So what are some next steps for your project?
Some next steps would probably be allowing students to add their own samples, multiple samples, into a custom instrument. Um, and as I mentioned, I had some trouble finding uh, samples for different articulations and dynamics. So right now I've just implemented it um, for different octaves, you could say. So probably looking for a solution for that as well.
Yeah, it'll be great when a student can, just record their own samples. I think that'll be really wonderful. And I also tried to look for samples at one point in time, and I found it more difficult than one would think. Great, thank you so much, Anvita. So next we have, we have Aman Chadha. So we're ready when you are. I think we can hear your keyboard.
Okay, I just shared my screen now. All right. So yeah, my project for Sugar Labs DMP is internationalization and AI support alignment. Now, starting with why this project. Right now, Sugar Labs have developed an application called Music Blogs, which is used by the kids worldwide. But right now, the language coverage is only for English, Japanese, and Spanish. Now, for the user, in order to engage better with the software, so for that they need to have a native language support so that there would be better engagement with that application. So right now, the drawbacks with the current they were using for the localization was there weren't any language specific formatting and fallback mechanisms, and there wasn't efficient support for the PO files that were being used in the project. And there was translation gaps and ambiguity issues. Like many of the translated files were translated around 30-20%, and some were none. And also there were ambiguity issues with certain words that might have multiple meaning. So if we don't have any context for those words, the translation won't be that accurate. So I've showcased certain words that might have multiple meaning, like duck and pitch, and etc. So the solution that I proposed to the organization was a contextual AI translation, AI assisted translation. So what I did was develop a RAG model where I would be having a knowledge base. Now, in order to create that knowledge base, what I did was looking at all the MSG IDs or the UI string that were being used in an application and creating a chunk data for each of the UI strings. For example, here it's a UI string called import MIDI. So I would be extracting 5 lines above and below that UI string, and all the document to that, and I would be storing my data in a vector database called ChromaDB. And later on, I would be using the RAG model, using the LLM, providing context for each of the UI strings. For example, here for the duck, the context is showed here, used as a drum name in the music blocks UI. Later on, with all the full context file, I would be using Google Translate API. So the template that I would be sending to the API would be in this manner, where there's a UI string, then colon, and the meaning of that word. Then I'd be translating it, for example, in Hindi, and then extracting that MSG ID. Now the changes that I have already done is that I migrated from the older framework to I-18. I also made an automated workflow. Now for this new current framework, they won't be using pod files but the JSON files, but pod files might be used by the translator. So I made an automated workflow that whenever changes are being done in the pod file, JSON file would be made it for those specific languages automatically. And this is the PR that's been merged for the migration from the older framework to new one. That's it.
Aman, what languages do you speak other than English?
I speak Hindi.
Hindi? So how far along is Music Blocks in terms of translating to Hindi?
Yeah, it's covered, but many of the words are missing. I've seen, and some of the words don't have accurate translation.
So what you've implemented, can that now take us all the way so that we have full support equal to what we have with, Japanese and Spanish?
Yeah, because what I did was I benchmarked certain words that I would be using in order to evaluate my translation. So there were words like Romanian minor and many other which were literally transliterated, and some might had different translation, not relevant to the Hindi language. So based on that, I try to figure out whether my work is is using this effectively or not.
Great. So how about as a next step, because I know you've got another week here with DMP, why don't we get to the point where, we've got a solid translation in Hindi? Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, I'll do it, because earlier, right now, my mentor told me to work on the Turkish translation. I did that. And after that, Arabic translation as well. He told me to look into another translation model. Like there's a model called Bhashini, which is by the Indian government, that I would be looking into, so that the solutions are also cost effective. It's a lesser expensive model as compared to Google Translate. So we would be dividing it based on the regions, which model that we need to use for specific language.
Okay, great. So let's wrap those up. I was proposing Hindi because you would be able to, to review it. But if Turkish is also, where it needs to be, because I do remember them reaching out to us, then let's, try to do that as well. Great. Let's move on for the sake of time, but thank you again, Aman. So next we're moving on to Music Blocks V4 with Justin Charles.
Yeah, hey everyone. So I'll just share my screen.
And try to keep this within 5 minutes because we've got Krish last.
Yeah. So I'll just start with explaining all of the terminology that we've used across the project. Then we'll go on to, review all the objectives that we covered through this summer, and then we'll go on with the demonstration. Like, I'll keep it short. So, Music Blocks V4. What exactly is Blocks V4? It is a complete architectural overhaul of Music Blocks V3, which we were using for vanilla JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So now we use TypeScript and React, which is a necessary evolution to improve the performance and add advanced new features to the project itself. So what I have been working upon is the masonry module. It is the module that allows users to construct music programs by dragging, dropping, and linking interactive blocks. So there were these four epics that we defined for this project. The first one is the brick. So the brick is the basic fundamental building block and the smallest unit of logic in music blocks. So this is exactly what a brick looks like. Uh, yeah. And then we have the stack. So it is like a connected chain of bricks that represents a structural flow of the music that is being played. The third is the workspace, which is the main interactive canvas where users can place, connect, and arrange bricks. And the fourth is the palette, which is a storable categorized panel that contains all of the bricks across music blocks. So there's this another epic that we have worked upon, which is the abstract syntax tree. So it was like a tree-like data structure that represents the whole flow and the structure of the program that the user has created. So this goes over to the program module, which is another project, and gets interpreted by one of the interpreter present there. So coming to the brick types. So there were these three basic brick types that we concluded, or basically categorizing them into three brick types. So the first one is the expression brick. So these are the bricks that can only be connected to the right notches of the simple and compound statement bricks. The second is the statement brick, this one. So this allows connection of different bricks below itself and the connection of bricks on the right side. And the third is the complex statement brick. So this brick allows nesting and then connecting other bricks below it and connecting bricks on the right side of it. So these were the three bricks that we figured and categorized. Let's move on to the final report and get done with the objectives. Uh, so yeah, these are the objectives that we listed down to cover the masonry module this summer. So the first one was building the brick rendering architecture. So in the first phase, we created these SVGs, scalar vector graphs. So we had these three different brick types that we created. We had coordinates on how to build these brick types. So the first one was the simple brick SVG, which you can see here. The second one was an expression brick SVG, and the third one was the compound brick SVG. These are all bricks that I just explained in the terminology file. The second one is creating a model view architecture for the bricks. So basically, what we did was we divided the whole brick folder into two types, into two folders. The first one was the model, and the second was the view. The model folder explained all of the components and the logic that the brick held and how they were being connected. So that was what models did. And the second one was the React views. So it basically rendered all of the bricks that we created. So these were the uh, this is how all of those bricks look like. The third phase was tower rendering and tree model rendering. So the tower is basically tower is basically a stack. So whenever you connect two bricks, it becomes a tower. A brick itself, which is present on the workspace, can be a tower. So a tower knows which bricks are connected to which other brick, and it keeps log of whatever is being connected or disconnected in the same manner. So this is an example of how a tower looks like. So there were these some screenshots of how interactive towers look like. The phase four was palette drag and drop and collision detection. So basically, we provide a palette which has a selection of all of the bricks that are present across music blocks. We support drag and drop of those bricks from the palette to the workspace, and then we also have a collision detection system which allows
Justin.
users allows the yeah.
So we only have enough time for Krish now, but is it safe to say that people can find what they need to know about this on our blog on
Yeah,
sugarlabs.org?
definitely all of it is present there. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm sorry to cut you short, but I want Krish to have time. Thank you.
That's all.
Good work. Okay, Krish, you're next.
Yeah. Hello. Because we are short on time, I'll just try to finish it as fast as I can. Hello, I'm Krish. So this summer, I worked on the behind the scenes of how sugar is, what is sugar OS, and how we make activities. So I'll explain it for our younger audience mainly. So I'll make it like a story. So think of GTK as a builder who makes button, windows, toolbars, and is the main builder for activities. You require GTK to have and make activities that we use in our sugar operating system. So GTK3 was our old builder. He worked really hard, but he's retired now. He has been retired for the last 4 years. And we need a new builder who is strong and can do more things. So we have GTK4. And so what happens is there is a question of, do we even need to change the builder? So when the builder retires, you don't build new slides. You have the old new things in the playgrounds, and that's what kind of we can understand by deprecated. So you won't get any new more updates. You'll be stuck with what we have. And as computers evolve and modern computer system becomes more and more complicated, they might start to break. The playground might start to break, and we would be in a really big tech debt. So we have to bring in GTK4. For example, something happened with Python 2 and Python 3 port in Sugar as well, and we had a GTK2 to GTK3 port similarly. So GTK4 is just a better framework or an optimized framework from GTK3, which is the game toolkit. So I'll show what I did this summer. Basically, I took the toolkit, which is the building blocks of how each activity is made. It's like button, toolbars, palettes, pop-ups, colors, icons, whatever you can think of is required to make an activity, and bump it to GTK4 so that we are safe for the upcoming years. So I will not be showing these videos, but they are linked in the final blog post if anybody wants to see those. Those are like quite in depth of what each component does. I'll just show some activities which were made using GTK4. So one of them was this that I was able to make during the midterm. So this just used like this buttons, which work, and this is based on GTK4. It's a very simple game, and this is the point where we can make things like this, which is what our old activities used to look like. And we need to have something that can build on top of that. So here's like one more. For example, this drawing activity where let's say somebody wants to draw like different colors and circles. If I want to have a filled circle, something like this, we can save, we can clear, we can undo, we can redo, whatever the things that we need. So all of this takes up a lot of effort because the code was pretty old, and now we bump it up to new modern standards. So some things might break, and those are explained in the blogs if anybody wants to go really technical and depth on what has broken and what has changed. Those can be found at Sugar Lab. You can also, so in this blog, in my page, if you just look at the final page, you can find the docs for the new toolkit, which explains every single API that has been deprecated and it's moved on. So in short, our old friend is retired, so we give them a nice sleep now, and we bring in the new GTK4 builder, which will help us build for future, and so that we can stay alive and keep making more activities for the future. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Krish. Right at the hour. Thank you, everybody. And continue to follow, Sugar Labs' work at sugarlabs.org and at this YouTube channel. Okay. Thank you all. Like and subscribe. Bye.